is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of No Other Pod, a victory pod, and you've been waiting for it. We've been waiting for it all year long to say it, to confirm it. It's a playoff pod.
Oh, booyaka, booyaka.
We are here. I'm Jimmy. I'm here with my good buddy, Dan. Dan, it's playoff time, baby, and we're in it.
Do you realize I'm looking like Inigo Montoya over here?
Yeah.
Do you see this?
I see you.
It is, bro.
Trying to kill the six-fingered man.
Playoff stash is working, bro. Oh my God, we're in it. We are in the dance, but are we? Is this considered playoffs, or is it considered like, let's see if you're good enough to get into the actual playoffs?
No, this isn't like the first four thing with the tournament where it's like, it's kind of the tournament, but it's not really the tournament. This is considered the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in football, you never want to be in the wild card, but if you are in the wild card, you're still referring that to playoffs. So this is the wild card.
And it was a wild card Giants team that we mentioned took down those undefeated Patriots. So,
bro, we did not expect to be in a home game, playoff game right off the bat. Like, no, what is happening? I don't know. The past few days have been nuts. It's been so exciting.
It's been wild. There's been all sorts of takes flying about this season that I want to discuss a little bit later. Some good. Some people are still mad. Some people don't know how to feel. Some people, I don't know what to do with my hands. And we got St. Louis fans out there saying that they're feeling special. And we'll talk.
Peter does not forget, by the way. All you people that called for this grown-ass man to get fired, he remembers, and he's got you on a list.
He's got you, I imagine,
down.
It's like Billy Madison, where the guy turns around and just crosses a name off the list.
Yeah, 100%.
Peter's got a list.
Oh, man. There's too damn much to talk about. First things first, I'd love to say, Chris Jericho, you just made the list. Look at this wrestling reference over here. Nick knows, bro. Producer Nick coming in hot. Dude, start before this game even started, by the way. St. Louis was pretty upset that Sporting KC was going to do some kind of blue light show, which, by the way,
get over it.
It didn't even end up being a blue light show. It was actually just spending the fireworks budget.
They did play it up a little bit more than they needed to. I mean, they put out on social ahead of time, get in your seats at 7:55 because we're going lights out at Children's Mercy Park. And I was like, what is it? Like last time, what I remembered was a number of years ago, I think it was a playoff game, where they did something kind of like this, but Tech Nine was there performing. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
He had like the Tech Nine mask on and everything, and it was awkward because the vibe was not a Tech Nine vibe in that stadium. And so he's the one who's, everybody go crazy, and everybody, a bunch of Johnson County soccer people are sitting there like, who's this Tech Nine? It was not quite the same as when he does it at a Chiefs game. So I was like, I don't know, they bring Tech Nine back, what's going to happen? And it was cool. They turned the lights off and they played a video, but that was
video in the dark and a lot of fireworks, bro. It was a whole ass fireworks show.
There was a lot
before the game.
Not fire.
Huh?
They needed more fire.
Oh, dude.
In addition to
there's a lot of fire. It gets hot down there, baby. It is. Woo, woo. Watch your eyebrows, man. But I enjoyed it until I couldn't really see the field anymore. I was like, this can't be good for the environment, right? Like I can't see shit.
I might be getting some sort of disease from all this carcinogens in the air.
Does Apple Watch give you an air quality alert from time to time?
It's please leave now. Yeah. St. Louis got mad because this is our thing. We've done this, and it's like, well, you know what?
They gotta relax. Chill. You haven't done shit. You've been in a single season. I'm sorry that you did some red light stuff. Austin does some green light stuff. Oh my goodness. Like, what are we even mad about? Some of these St. Louis people think they are God's gift to soccer.
Well, on Monday during the day, I saw that Zach Cobb, he's a Sporting KC fan on Twitter, he's willing to get in some scraps with some people on Twitter. He found some St. Louis fan that was talking about how, has any team ever had an owner that's been as active and engaging on social media as our owner is, because she was answering questions on Facebook or something like that. And so he started kind of going back and forth. Like, Rob Heineman's been doing this for years, literally, like, as have other owners. This is not new, but St. Louis, but nobody like our owner. We're different. We're different. It's a different thing here. So, it's there's a real opportunity that Sporting Kansas City, if they can pull this off on Wednesday, which we'll talk about, best of 3 with St. Louis.
We've already had a best of 3 with St. Louis, and it did not go our way. Yeah. So it's like there's a revenge story plot there. Dude, also, do you want your owner to engage with people on Twitter? Like, it just...
If I'm a marketing person or a comms person, a PR person, absolutely the hell not.
No.
Get the hell off of Facebook.
You don't owe people anything. Like, you don't have to go on there and answer questions. If that's what you want to do, send out a Twitter Q&A and then release a video.
Do an AMA, do something like that. But yeah, I get it. I get the sentiment. It does set a very hard precedent to keep up with, because now you're not going to be able to keep doing it. So whatever. But as a staff person, I wouldn't. But
I'm just so thankful that they gifted us with the sport of soccer. St. Louis, we bow down. We bow down to you guys.
Thank you. But let's it's how I want to know, how were you feeling all day leading into this game? Because I told people, Jacob Peterson, friend of the show, came up to me before the game when I was up in the press box. He goes, how you feeling? I was like, I'm optimistic. He was like, good. I think me too. Nate Bukaty, he was getting ready to get on Apple TV. He has same thing. How you feeling? I was like, I'm feeling good. Okay. I texted you that.
They're talking to our good friends. That's awesome.
I texted you, I'm feeling good, and I forget exactly what you said, but it was something akin to shut your mouth.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. All I said was stop. I said stop. I don't want to be asked how I'm feeling. I just want to, let's just hope for the best. Expect disappointment. Like I was real excited. Even the days leading up to the game, I was like, man, this is that different feel. This is why you go all year for this storyline, man. Our podcast has had peaks and valleys as far as what to cover. This has been the craziest season to cover since we started this thing 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That's wild to think about.
It was, I can't explain why. I was oddly calm the entire day leading into this.
That's ridiculous. I was nervous, and I was even more nervous when there was like a deflection and Tim Melia had to lay out for a stop, and then there was a deflection down at the other end where the St. Louis goalkeeper went over the goal, and it's the whole thing was just nuts, bro. I
had a quiet confidence, I guess you could say, for some reason, that I was like, Sporting's going to take care of business tonight, and whatever happens in the other games happens. That's out of our control, but we're going to do it tonight. And I don't know why, because I haven't really felt that all year, but I just had a feeling that they were not going to let this opportunity go by the wayside by their own doing, at least on that night. Obviously, the rest of the season was their own doing, but...
Man, now I'm just thinking like the what ifs. Like if Dallas would have lost, then we would have like not even had to play this Wednesday. And just what a ridiculous story. I could not be more excited. The whole game it had breathlessness, because you were just like, you were engaged to every moment, because your literal season's on the line, your soccer life. Someone's season is ending tonight.
Right.
And it wasn't us, because I had schadenfreude to the max, waving at the Minnesota supporters. I was like, bye-bye. Have a safe trip.
And I knew that it was probably going to be a weird game, potentially, because a draw doesn't help anybody. Everybody loses in a draw. So there were both teams were going to just go, full tilt, try to do whatever they can to win. And
Sporting let them have the ball. Sporting just kept the ball most of the time.
That's the thing. It was pretty evident very early in the game that Sporting isn't here to mess around. Sporting is the team that is going to control this game. And if they're going to lose, it's not going to be because of the lack of effort. And there were some questions leading into this game that I think were probably a little overblown throughout the week, because the injury report came out and people freaked out a little bit, because people like Johnny and Alan were on the injury report and imagining what happens if they don't play. And
I know what happens. We've seen the numbers there. Not good.
And I don't think there was ever actually really much of a chance of them not playing. They've been on the injury report off and on listed as questionable for a while. And then, of course, the lineup comes out, and it's the first choice 11 as much as there can be. Tim Leibold obviously wasn't available, and Marino Shanice was not in the 11. But I see this lineup. I see that front three we're used to. I see that midfield that I think might be my first choice midfield. As much as I love Gotti, I think I love him more as sort of a super sub. And then this back line, you know what? All you can ask for. This is it. So I was feeling good.
Yeah, I just, I hope they stay healthy. I hope training doesn't kill them, because you just played Saturday and now you're playing Wednesday, man. You got to play tomorrow. So it's like one of the most wild things to me, by the way. First 10 games of the season, we're all aware of what happened. We lost 7 games and drew 3.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, the rest of the year, we only lost 7 more games and we drew 5.
Mm-hmm.
And had 12 wins in that bad boy. Like it's as best you could do, man. But Sporting's going to be dangerous here. They are like the league leader in wins since May or something like this.
1.71 points per game after those first 10 games of the year.
Which is the highest in the league, right?
It's at least the highest in the conference. 1.71 points per game after those first 10 games of the year. If they would have kept up that pace across the entire year, if they could have replicated that in the first 10 games of the year, do you know where they would have finished in the West?
Got to be second or something, right?
First place.
First, huh?
Because the first place team in the West, St. Louis, averaged 1.65 points per game.
That's wild.
So Sporting KC was literally on, and it doesn't feel like it because there were still games where you do well, you do well, you do well. Damn it, a 4-0 loss to St. Louis. You do well, you do well, you do well. Damn, you drop points here. You shouldn't have done that. And yet, since May, over the final 24 games of the year, 1.71 points per game.
That's insane to me, man. And we were rewarded, dude, for showing up all year. If you guys are just now joining us and listening to this, and maybe you were like, hey, I'm going to go check out this Sporting game. It's going to be a good one. Well, hey, you got one. I mean, you didn't have to endure all this other stuff that we did all season, man. But if you did, you're rewarded. And here we are in the game, and we're ready to march. And we could make a run here, bro. We could do something. I hate to say it, but I'm so excited.
I mean, like we said, you just get in the dance. And what's interesting is, I don't know, and we are going to talk about the game, but this feels like a low pressure situation almost for Sporting in some ways because everybody's counted them out. It doesn't seem like anybody actually thinks Sporting KC could do this. If you look at MLSsoccer.com, Matt Doyle made tiers of teams that he wrote out about everybody who's in the playoffs. There's the tier 1 favorites, the FC Cincy and LAFC. Then there's the tier 2 serious contenders. And then you keep going to tier 3, teams that need to catch some breaks, he calls it. And then there's tier 4, too many flaws. Guess which tier Sporting Kansas City is in?
Put us in that one.
It's tier 4, too many flaws. But, as you said, 0-7-3 through the first 10 games of the year, 12-7-5 the rest of the way, never losing 2 in a row and never getting on, but, we never got on an 8-game winning streak, but consistent. Now, I think it's interesting, and I think I can't sit here and say that Sporting Kansas City are obviously a favorite or whatnot to advance throughout the playoffs because this is a flawed team. But I don't think that this is, hey, count them out. This team's not going to do anything. I think beating San Jose is very reasonable. We'll talk about that. And I think beating St. Louis is very reasonable. We'll talk about that too, assuming we get to that point. But I don't know, man. I'm just excited. I think we're an underdog. It feels like we're playing with a little bit of house money here, and we'll see where it goes.
Absolutely.
So, should we take a quick break before we talk about the rest of the game? I think we'll do that. So we'll take a break right here, and we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Buddy, the Major League Soccer script writers are strong. They're hard at work because damn well they don't want to see no San Jose in a 3-game series against St. Louis when it could have been Sporting KC. Mm-hmm. And for travel too, man, St. Louis would much rather come on down here than have to, head out to Northern California. So it's
although I've heard, I can't speak for everybody in the St. Louis organization, but I've heard that there are some people who work for the St. Louis City SC that are rooting pretty hard for San Jose to beat Sporting KC.
Because they're scared.
They don't want the smoke. And
They don't want that revenge, bro.
For whatever reason, apparently some of them think it'd be easier to market San Jose because they played Sporting 3 times already. Bro, that is absolutely not the case. This is supposedly your biggest rival. You talked all this shit about soccer capital of America, whatnot. Now you get a playoff series, and you think the San Jose Earthquakes are going to be easier to market for your fans?
What kind of marketing major from DeVry University thinks that that's a good idea? Yeah, see what I just did there? I slammed their marketing team. DeVry, not a good school.
We'll see. I mean, we got to get through San Jose first, but let's before we even get to San Jose, let's talk a little bit more about this Minnesota game, because we talked about the lineup. You looked at Minnesota. They're a team that's a little bit reeling, and this was a weird situation because we're watching the game that we're watching, but we're also kind of keeping an eye on the scores from some other games too, because not only are we winning, but we got to make sure that at least one of 3 other teams don't win.
I didn't look up other scores until we scored.
Really?
When we scored, I go, okay, phone coming out. But like, there's no reason if you're tied, there's no reason to score watch.
See, I had MLS. I was up in the press box. I had MLS 360 up. Me and everybody else in the press box were all sitting there watching. And it's funny because we were all, I mean, you know how streaming is. Sometimes they're like the stream's off by a couple seconds here or there. So we weren't all quite exactly the same. So you'd start hearing murmurs at the press. Houston scored. Wait, what? Houston scored. Or like sitting there, and it's like it was pretty clear pretty immediately that Dallas was not gonna. They were not gonna do anything but win. They dominated the Galaxy. The Galaxy were not going to do us any favors. They scored like in 2 minutes. It's like, okay, comes down to Houston. It comes down to Austin. We're relying on Austin FC for something. And then Sporting Kansas City continuing to be dominant on the ball through the first 20 minutes. It took about 27 minutes. And then Johnny Russell decided he was going to be a little bit of 2018, 2017 Johnny Russell. He goes down that right wing. He puts that ball on his left foot. He cuts inside. He fires it, and it goes past St. Clair into the inside of the far post. And I felt an emotional release throughout the entire stadium.
Look, what kind of tape are you watching on a team where you allow Johnny Russell to do what Johnny Russell does? Like, he does that, and I'm just like, how did he even get that off? Go watch it, dude, because even the other defenders pointed at the guy who was guarding Johnny. They were just like, what are you doing?
Well, you know what maybe you should have done? Maybe they should have double-teamed Johnny like every other team does, because it's pretty clear he's going to be able to get around a single defender. There are 2 Minnesota defenders standing about 6 to 10 yards behind the guy who's guarding Johnny, and not a single one of them even bothers to step up and look. I'm watching the replay right now. The guy who was on Johnny one-on-one points to the other guy and points back like, come help me.
Yeah.
Double team. They don't do it.
No,
So-
dude. They're sitting back because they must have saw a little something. They must have foresaw that that ball is going to come across the box later. Remy Voltaire is going to come in out of nowhere and just score a goal that Remy Voltaire doesn't normally score. The man, it's insane to me.
It took, 3 minutes later? 4 minutes later? So
I wasn't done celebrating the first one. I was still talking about it, and it happened, and I go, what? What happened?
right.
I had to watch the replay, bro.
I knew the second a team scored. I didn't know who was going to score first. I hoped obviously it was Sporting KC. But I knew that the second that one of the teams scored, the game was going to get weird. Because now there's no room for error in this game. Draws don't count. So if one team scores first, the other team now suddenly needs to score at least 2 unanswered goals. And that suddenly gets a lot harder. So Sporting Kansas City scores off Johnny's left foot. Minnesota starts pushing a little bit more. They get caught without numbers in the box. Daniel Shallowy goes down almost to the corner flag, sends in a ball across into the center of the box, and Remy Voltaire flies in out of nowhere and first time touches this past Thane St. Clair. And that was that, because if Remy's not there, Johnny's kind of running across, but I'm not even sure Daniel was passing this to Remy. I think he saw Johnny cutting in, and if you look at the pass, it's on line to land right at Johnny's feet, and Remy flies in and puts that in the back of the net.
Amazing, dude. And now most people will be like, hey, 2-0, this feels good. Nah, dude, it didn't feel good, because for one, 2-0 is a scary score, especially if they keep coming hard. You're like, dude, if they got one back, this changes everything. But you know they got to score 3 because they don't want to draw. But then you're looking at these other games that's like tied up 1-1, and then someone's down 1-0, and then they go down 2-0, and it's like, oh my God, this has never been the most stressful decision day, dude. Like any other time, it's like win and you're in. And this was not the case, and it made it that much more serious. It was so fun, right?
It was awesome. It was so much fun. It was 2-0 at the half, and at this time, the Houston Dynamo were up 1-0, and San Jose and Austin were tied 1-1. So at halftime, if the results ended the way they did, we knew that Sporting Kansas City was going to host the play-in game. And if you would have asked me, do you think that the San Jose and Austin game is going to end 1-1? Probably not. Do you think that the Houston game is going to end 1-0? Probably not. So a lot of things still could have gone awry, even if Sporting Kansas City pulled off the victory. I was feeling pretty good at 2-0. Minnesota hadn't really shown anything, although you never know. Things get wild. And yeah, the second half started. Pretty soon after the second half started, Houston goes up and they double their lead 2-0, and then they make it 3-0. So you're thinking, okay, finish this out and we're in.
But I'm thinking, I saw that and I'm thinking, nah, we need 3, dude. We need 3. We have to cap this off and like solidify this shit, right?
And if we need 3, who do you think it should be that should put that third goal in? There's only one.
I mean, does Alan Polito want to play at all? Like, why isn't our striker scoring anything? We got midfielders scoring, and then we got our winger allegedly getting fouled in the box. He's like, what happened? Why did I get, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to get up and block this guy's kick and score. What?
And I'm pretty convinced that actually would have gone to VAR review, because I was looking at it, I was like, that's a foul in the box. Yeah. But credit to Johnny. This is what so many soccer players do not do what Johnny did. They get fouled in the box, they turn around, they start yelling at the ref, they complain, the ball gets cleared, and then you're relying on the video assistant referee to decide, was that clear and obvious enough for me to signal down to the center referee and take a look at it? Suddenly it's out of your hands. Johnny didn't do that. Johnny gets fouled. He gets up. He turns and looks, sees a Minnesota defender being lazy with the ball, and like you said, blocks it with his left foot. It touches down perfectly. He just rolls it past Dane St. Clair. Ball don't lie. 3-0.
Bro,
rest is history.
Michael Boxall is like, oh shit, and he boxes Johnny out. He has the positioning, but Johnny sticks his little leg around Boxall, and just gets a poke on him, dude. He just gumbied his leg around to get it. But Boxall did what he had to do. He blocked them out. I don't know how Johnny gets a foot to this ball. It's insane to me. It's how strong he is and in mind and body. Yep. And now it's 3-0, and you're like, let's host the fucking playoffs. Let's go, baby.
And it was right after we scored 3-0 where I tweeted something that I probably shouldn't have tweeted, but it was something along the lines of, at this point it would take a collapse, like multiple collapses of historic proportions for Sporting Kansas City to not make the playoffs.
Why'd you do that?
And I literally hit send, and the second I hit send, Michael Boxall scores for Minnesota.
Oh, no.
So I was like, oh, shoot, I've made a terrible mistake. And it was off a set piece, which is still our kryptonite.
You think they're talking about that this week at training? Do you think they're like, okay, great win, but hey, we can't let that happen?
You better be.
They have to.
Because that's not going to fly in the playoffs.
Bro, that was Kyrie's guy, and Kyrie just like lost his balance. Otherwise, Kyrie has that. Kyrie has the height to go toe-to-toe with Michael Boxall.
Kyrie did.
What a header, though, right?
It was a great header.
Had a mistake at the other end and was like, whatever, I got to go slam one home. And he did. Yeah. It was crazy.
It was a great header. So it's 3-1, 9 minutes left. I wasn't that concerned, but I was like, okay, close this game out. 9 minutes plus stoppage, and there was, 4 minutes of stoppage. So it
they were getting physical in that second half, too, man. They had 3 yellows in the second half.
They were getting feisty.
Fucking cheaters, dude.
They were getting feisty. But we saw it out. Now, let me ask you this. Johnny said, I asked him, at halftime, they said, nobody look at your phones. Not a single person in this locker room is going to look at your phones, because it doesn't matter, because the only thing that can happen from it is bad things. Either you're going to get too comfortable or you're going to get too sad and you're not going to see this out. Do you believe nobody knew the score?
Well, I mean, you want to believe. You want to believe that they're solidified and they're a team like that, because there is peer pressure. Like, You think Jake Davis is over there like, he didn't say Apple Watch? You know, I don't know.
What if I don't look at it and I just have Siri tell me?
Right. It just feels like, I don't know. You don't want to know really, right? You want to go play your game and kind of have that fun at the end. Yeah. But I don't know. Did you get a hint that they looked like? Did you feel that they might have?
The people who I think knew, I think some of the reserves in the second half knew, because when that third goal was scored, the way the entire team was jumping and celebrating seemed like that was a team that was celebrating that they were about to be in the playoffs.
You think Roger snuck his phone out and his little man fitness tracker bra thing?
I think in a game like soccer, when the fans are so close, somebody's telling the player something. There's somebody who's like, hey, Roger, Houston's up 3-0. You guys winning, you're in. And then it starts, the little murmurs start going through or whatnot. But when they celebrated as a team and they're jumping up and down and the reserves are on the field and everything after that third goal, it felt to me like they knew. And then after the game, we kind of talked about, I'd hoped this would happen, where there would still be a couple minutes left in the other game. So they all gathered at midfield. They put the games up on, and it was kind of quiet. The San Jose Austin game already went final, I think it was. The Houston game went final 3-0. So we were already in the playoffs, but we were still waiting to see the San Jose Austin game go final because there was like 6 damn minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah.
And then that finally goes final. They know they're hosting a playoff game, and everybody just lost it.
It's insane. It's insane, dude. If you asked me if we'd be hosting one of these things, 3 months ago, I'd be like, you're out of your damn mind.
Right.
And that's the thing here, man. It's like this whole season, though, isn't just based off of that 10-game winless streak at the beginning of the season. Like, there's been some shitty games this year. I mean, you can't say like, oh, well, we just had to wait to get our players back. Then what's the excuse when you played St. Louis? Like, I gotta say, you had your players and they kind of wiped the floor with you. So it's a little nerve-wracking. There were problems still.
Yeah, this is... I tweeted something that was like, because I saw some people still being mad. They're like, "Oh, Peter's taking a victory lap, and this is what he expects. 8th place is what he wanted to blah, blah, blah." And I was just like, you know what? Tonight, be happy. Tonight, it's okay to be happy, because you know why? We went winless in our first 10 games, and we did something that nobody in the league has ever done. They turned around and they made the playoffs, and we're going to play a home playoff game. Sam Cobson from Sporting KC tweeted this out. First MLS team to make the playoffs after opening the season winless in 10, leading the West since the start of May in points, wins, and goals per game. And then he goes, we won 6 of 9 since the League's Cup, or 6 of 9 since the League's Cup. 6 of nice. And now we're coming home for the playoffs. So if you can't enjoy a night like that and acknowledge, yes, there's flaws with this team or whatnot, but if you can't just be like, you know what, but tonight I'm happy, why are you a sports fan?
This last little stretch of games has kind of been do or die anyways. You got to take that clump of games and single it out and say like, whoa, there were moments where like, if we would have lost this, all chances are all but gone. This is a must win, quote unquote. Mathematically you're still in it, but come on, you got to keep pace with everybody else.
Right.
And they did it when it mattered. And this game mattered, and they did it. I'm so happy. I'm so proud to support this team. I'm even prouder to like see the guys truly happy, because they've been in this shit show, dude. They've been in this grind, and it sucked. Yeah.
I was Peter went on like a 3.5-minute diatribe to start his press conference, which was kind of funny. Sperry kind of teed him up, and he was like, Peter flat out said, he goes, "It's a great question, because it didn't matter what you were going to ask. I was going to give the same answer no matter what."
He had something queued up. He's like, "I'm going to speak to the haters who yelled for me to be fired."
Yeah, he was ready to go. But I thought he had a lot of good points. He finished it for the naysayers and the doubters. No problem. Keep doing it, because we'll keep fighting and clawing and making our way. So he was.
They're probably not here tonight.
Right, he did. But and he was asked if he ever doubted himself, and he's like, "No, it's not like I woke up and forgot how to coach."
Man, the shit he says, I swear to God, sometimes it's too much, man. It's like, okay, we get it. You don't want to do these press conferences.
Yeah.
But like your decorum is all over the place sometimes, Pete.
I loved when he was asked about Johnny, and he goes, I remember when I was first scouting Johnny, and the one thing I always thought is he had the it factor, and that is for the big games because he's got big balls. It's like, okay.
Goodness.
So, Peter was in a mood or whatever it was, Saturday.
Did he have his wine? Did he have his wine brought over?
He had his victory wine. Did you see the picture of George Brett going around where he's like got his shirt off and I swear to God.
George Brett, bro.
I swear to God, when I first saw that on my timeline, I thought it was Peter Vermes.
I thought it was AI. I was like, that's not real. Why would George Brett
shirtless at a Sporting KC game?
Why is he shirtless in a box? Why is he at this game to begin with? It's weird.
The one thing I want to mention before we take our second break is Johnny obviously was so proud of this game and of this turnaround, but I was curious because he's been captain for a few years now. He's been captain ever since Matt Beasley left, and it hasn't been the most successful run in Sporting KC's history during his tenure, and that's not his fault. It just happens to be what happened. But I asked him, I was like, you've been captain for a few years now, and earlier this year, obviously, there was a lot of frustration. You were at a loss for words at times. So what does it mean to you as a captain, and where does it rank in terms of your time as a captain to be standing there at midfield, watching that game go final and know you're about to host a playoff game, knowing how this year started? And he was like, oh, it's got to be near the top. It's got to be near the top, because he was like, it's easy to be captain when you're in a leader, when things are going well. But I learned a lot about myself as a leader and a captain. He goes, I've never been a captain until I was here. I don't know how to do it. I'm learning this as I go. But he was beaming with pride, which was really cool to see, because I know he was literally at a loss for words at times this year, not knowing how to fix it. So
pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Let's take our second break, and then we'll come back and talk about San Jose and what's to come.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
George freaking Brett, man.
It's George Brett.
Had the pine tar up there, swinging his shirt around.
Mm-hmm. He was ready. He was excited.
That's just wild. When I saw he was up there, I was like, oh, I guess that's kind of neat. But then I saw the shirtless picture. I was like, what?
What in the world?
This man, talk about people with big balls. I mean, George Brett getting shirtless.
It's who knew? Funny. Who
2023 is wild, man.
Yeah. Just wait.
We Taylor Swift mania.
Maybe Taylor Swift comes if we're in MLS Cup. Travis, bring her down.
Stop that nonsense. I will lose it. I will lose it, buddy. I mean, get your friendship bracelets ready for MLS Cup.
Get them ready. She's already got secret handshakes with Brittany Mahomes, it looks like. So,
listen, it's not much of a secret, because you know every teeny bopper has learned that handshake already. Okay.
Exactly. So,
I mean, I learned it.
You and Marissa are just at home doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it.
So now, turn around. Wednesday, just a few nights rest. We're back.
Didn't know what you were talking about. I go,
turn around. There's Taylor Swift.
Freaked me out.
Short turnaround. And Wednesday, we're back at Children's Mercy Park. A late kick. 8:30 Central, I think, is the kickoff.
What are they doing to us? What is that? That's 30 minutes earlier than that Chivas game.
Yeah. And I didn't get home until after midnight with all the post-game stuff I was doing. And this most recent game kicked off at 8. So it's going to be even later. 8:30.
Don't be pissed if we win this game. We got to go play St. Louis at 9 p.m. You know, West Coast St. Louis, apparently. Like, why would that be a good time for a game? Who sets that, Apple?
Yeah, it's Apple for TV, because they don't want to get all the games on at the same time. So
I mean, that's not great for your central time zone and everything. And it's just people in the East that want to watch.
It's kind of a bummer, because we're technically in the West, so obviously we're playing a West Coast team. So 8:30 our time is 6:30 their time.
Yeah, good point.
You know, I don't know. It still sucks. A 7:30 kick for New York and Charlotte. I think they could have pushed these kicks up an hour. I think they could have had a 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern kick for Red Bulls in Charlotte, probably, and they could have had
middle of the week, man. That's tough to ask people to get there at that time.
Yes, but I mean, 8:30 sucks, man. That's a 6:30 kick West Coast. You couldn't have a 5:30. I don't know. It's just it's late. It does suck.
It sucks. Get home at midnight again.
And I know that they're probably trying to avoid as much as possible on Sunday going head-to-head against the NFL. But you know what? You're still going to have Sunday Night Football. So, I don't know, a 5 p.m. start, 7 p.m. start, and 9 p.m. start. Those are the 3 Sunday games. You couldn't have pushed those up an hour, just an hour.
I love it. At least those games aren't on Saturday. You do get an extra day of recovery there.
That's true.
But this is exciting, man. Hopefully, exact a little revenge against San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have it pulled up. If not, you should totally do that. Is look at the lineup of when we played San Jose back in May, I believe. It is not the lineup that we play with right now. Yes, our front 3 were there. It was Shallowy, Pulido, and Russell. Castellanos was in for Fontas. He ends up getting a first half red card, if you guys remember. So it was like, wow, thanks for coming out, Castellanos. Have a nice day. Our left back was Robert Volader. I think I'm going off memory here. Who's not our left back anymore. I think Logan and Denbei has really locked that down. And Graham Zusi was our right back. So shit's changed since San Jose has played us last. I think our midfield, Remy was in there. Eric Tommy was in there. It was
Gotti wasn't
pretty usual.
Probably there yet. But this was April 15th. So this was right after.
Felipe Hernandez was in there. I haven't seen him in a long time. So we're different now.
Polito wasn't back to full form yet. So this is, if you look at last time we played San Jose this year at home, August 26th, 3-0 Sporting Kansas City. So there's a stat. Sporting Kansas City, of the last 20 times we've played San Jose at home, can you guess how many times we lost to them? You see this online?
No, I haven't.
Sporting Kansas City has lost only 1 of its last 20 home matches against San Jose dating back to August 2004, including advancing in 3 single-leg knockout games.
Well, they have a very dangerous player in Christian Espinosa. I know he's been there for a bit, and he's very scary. But that stat is insane. We're going to have our game, though, because they're good.
They're good, but you want to know their form in the second half of the season? In the 17 games in the back half of the season, San Jose won 3 games. These are 2 teams going in opposite directions. And I'm not sitting here saying that, like, we should feel confident, like overconfident, it's a done deal or whatnot. But if you look at what happens when teams are going in opposite directions and one's at home, we've only lost 1 since 2004. They've only won 3 of their last 17 games. San Jose has only advanced once in 6 playoff appearances since 2003. This is doable, is what I'm getting at. This is doable.
It is doable, man, but it is the playoffs. You do have to focus up. This is one of those things that, there is no, I don't believe there's any extra time. I think it'll go straight to PKs if things are tied up at the end.
Correct.
I don't believe the extra time starts until after round 1, after the best of 3 series. I think then the games from there on out have extra time and stuff, right?
That maybe I have to look it up. Honestly, they've changed the playoff format so much, but I know for this round, and I also know for the best of 3 series, it does go straight to playoff penalties.
So this is so doable, like you said. I really hope people show up. I know it's a Wednesday night game. Sometimes those are always kind of hit and miss as far as attendance goes, but I think people knowing that it's playoffs, and maybe some people who were there on Saturday are just ready to go, man. It's
absolutely,
because you didn't know, Saturday, you didn't know when you're playing, and then it's announced like, okay, Wednesday, 8:30. I hope people bought tickets. Let's go.
I hope so. It's a quick turnaround. The 2 players to keep an eye on, in my view, for San Jose are Jeremy Ebobisse, their striker, and then Christian Espinosa. He's their most important player. Sporting on the need to know on MLSsoccer.com, Christian Espinosa has scored or assisted on 12 of San Jose's last 15 regular season goals. So 12 of their last 15 goals, Christian Espinosa has either scored or assisted on.
Sorry, he literally has done that on 2/3 of their goals this year. You just gave a 2/3 amount there. That's hilarious.
And then 9 of San Jose's 10 wins this year came in matches in which Christian Espinosa contributed to at least 1 goal. They've only won one game when he was held off of the score sheet or without an assist. So
Wow.
seems to me that the key to this game defensively, stop Christian Espinoza, and you have a pretty good chance of stopping San Jose.
And score first. They have only won one game when being scored on first. That being said, they've conceded the second most penalty kicks in MLS.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, Logan Ndembe likes to get down there and take fouls. You know, he likes to get beat up a little bit.
Yeah.
Johnny likes to penetrate that box. Let's get early PK. How about it?
Do you know the one win that San Jose's had since 2004 at Children's Mercy Park? I remember it vividly. I didn't remember that this is what it was until I read it, and I was like, oh, I was suddenly transported back there. August 19th, 2015, San Jose beat Kansas City 5-0. It was the first loss for Kansas City at home at Children's Mercy Park that year.
Yeah.
They were undefeated at home. I don't remember his rating. I just remember it was undefeated at home. We made it all the way into the end of August, and people started talking about Sporting Kansas City might go undefeated at home. This is a fortress. And then freaking Wondolowski and co came in there and laid a 5-0 drubbing on us.
I think it was raining, man. I'm pretty sure. Like, did you watch that game down in the Cauldron with me?
Was that might have been the rain game?
I think we were in the rain.
Yeah. Okay. I remember that.
Wow.
We stayed out there during the break.
We did. Marissa did not. She went inside.
Yeah. But you know, that's the exception game to the trend. So it'll be interesting. Sporting's 5 all-time postseason matches against San Jose are their 4th most against any opponent. The only teams they've played more in the playoffs are the Galaxy, Colorado, and Houston. So I don't know. This will be interesting. This will be an interesting game. How are you feeling about Sporting's chances heading into this?
Oh, I'm not even confident. I mean, it's anything.
Given all these contexts.
No, I mean, anything goes, dude. It's just anything can happen. That's just the nature of this sport. But also, I do know it's all about form. And if you are going to go put money on someone, you need to look at Sporting and what they've been doing in this little freight train they got going behind them, because that's the team that gets shit done. And there's pundits out there that are like, even Taylor Twellman tweeted. That's fun to say. He said, I wouldn't want to play Sporting KC right now. They have been the most consistently improving team, and they are on a roll. And I'm like, you right, Taylor? It makes sense.
He's right. I don't always agree with his takes, but he's right.
Yeah.
If we can get through San Jose, we go to City Park in St. Louis on Sunday. We won't have a new podcast episode by that point.
But you're guaranteed another home game if you get past this Wednesday game.
That is true. And St. Louis, they are not infallible at home. The Seattle Sounders, who are obviously a very good team, went into City Park and they won 2-0 this most recent week. One of those goals was an own goal from Tim Parker. So, yes.
Shouldn't they have broken the points record for new, for expansion team?
I think so.
And they didn't because they lost that game. So they are now second in the points record behind LAFC in 2018.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hilarious.
So I personally am very excited about the prospect of playing St. Louis in the playoffs.
You got to beat them once at their place. You've yet to do that, but you will have to do that if you want to get out of that.
To advance. Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking hypotheticals now, but dude, you want to go get that early win and then maybe win it at home, you know?
Absolutely. If I think about the idea of playing St. Louis, do I actually think Sporting Kansas City are going to go on and win MLS Cup? Probably not. It's tough.
They shouldn't.
But if we can get past San Jose, and then we get to St. Louis, it would almost be it wouldn't be as good as winning MLS Cup, but it would feel pretty damn good to end St. Louis's Cinderella run. You can have your 4-0 victories, you can have your 4-1 victories, you can have your lights out, your red, whatever you want to do it. But when rubber hit the road and the games mattered more than ever, and you couldn't do it, ooh, that'd be vindication.
Well, and we can't talk like this, by the way. We can't talk like, do I think Sporting's going to win MLS Cup? No. But it's like, why not? Let's ask that question. Yeah. Why not? Do you think these players are thinking like, we're not going to go very far, but let's just go do our best?
No, absolutely not. They think they can make a run and win it.
Yes, dude. You think Alan Pulido is here getting paid that money to just go home? Like, he wants to keep playing.
Right.
And he doesn't need to score, apparently. Like, he's our scorer, but it's not necessary. That's wild.
It was really good. I mean, we were preaching all year, runners into the box. When they did it, it was great. And Remy gets running into the box, and he does it. And then Johnny makes a couple of wonder individual goals. So, yeah, when people outside of Allen can contribute to the score sheet, it opens things up for everybody because then they can't key in on just one guy. So, I'm excited. I don't think, even if we made it against St. Louis and we lost, I'm not going to be any more embarrassed than what already happened this year. It's like, I almost feel like it's playing with house money when you get to St. Louis.
Well, and also you made the playoffs. You got yourself a chance. You got yourself into the conversation, whereas we could just be talking about a season wrap-up right now and then covering MLS playoff previews, right?
Right. So, I don't know. I'm excited. Again, I've been saying this all year. Eventually, it's going to come back to get them. In some games over the back half of the year, it kind of has. St. Louis overperformed every single advanced metric that's out there. And
their goalkeeper can't save a penalty kick to save his life.
That's what I was about.
That'll be interesting to see.
Berkey's a very good goalkeeper, but if we get this, that's my strategy. If we get to Sunday at City Park, just try to get maybe steal a goal or whatever, but get this thing to penalties, mess around, and see what happens. Yeah, because you put Berkey or Tim Melia in between the sticks on penalty kicks. 10 out of 10 times I'm taking Tim Melia.
I think I would too. And the fans know that. Like, I talked to a very nice gentleman when we were there, and he's like, yeah, Berkey's great and all, but he can't do shit for penalties.
Which is wild because he stands on his head sometimes.
Yeah.
He's a very good goalkeeper, but apparently just shit at saving penalties.
That's just penalties is making a decision, right? It's quick decision. But like taking on shots, he demonstrates pure athleticism. Mm-hmm. Berkey just jumps up at like a cat and does like some backflip into a round off. You're like, when did they get Simone Biles?
Right. It's pretty wild. So, but I'm very excited about this prospect. I just, hopefully we get through San Jose first. It's not going to, I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I don't want to sound too confident about San Jose, even though
I want to think that we're talking about the next game that's not even coming yet.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Very much have to get through San Jose. Christian Espinoza, very dynamic player. Jeremy Abobasi, very dynamic player. They got some good young guys. I'm very glad this game is at Children's Mercy Park. I'd be feeling a lot more nervous if this game was in San Jose.
Do you get those daily email blasts from that guy that does MLS emails? He puts out like the watch gridometer of like what games are the best. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't always agree with this stuff, but he did something of, he was ranking all the round one matches. Mm-hmm. And in number one, in his number one spot, he put St. Louis and Sporting KC. He's like, everyone wants this to happen. He wasn't even penciling in San Jose, bro. San Jose was nowhere in this conversation. He's like, Sporting needs to get here because this will be fun.
Yeah.
And I agree, man. MLS wants this to happen. Journalists want this to happen. We'd love this to happen. So I hope so.
We would love it to happen. Yeah, it does make me a little nervous that people are just flat out seemingly discounting San Jose because
and they'll know that too.
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of the same thing that I was just talking about. Is like, well, now you're just kind of playing with house money, and
yeah, they'll be like,
"Gonna win."
Oh, is this chip on the shoulder? And they eat it.
So I'm trying to see right now. I was trying to look up what the odds are currently. Sporting KC, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, minus 145 on the money line in terms of favorites.
Just because we're at home.
San Jose plus 330 and a draw plus 295. So the sports books have Sporting Kansas City an even bigger favorite against San Jose than we were Saturday against Minnesota.
Yeah. So how about this? I'm so nervous, but I'm so also very excited. Like this past game felt like attending a playoff game.
It did. I mean, functionally it was.
Yeah. And now we get to actually attend a playoff game. So it's just the excitement's all over again. And it's my wife's birthday. It's going to be a hell of a time. And you guys see Yes, it is. If you see Happy Birthday Marissa on the board, I did that.
Does she know you're doing that?
She knows, yeah.
She says she knows now.
I wanted her to know because I did it one year and she missed it.
And she's like, we got to leave. And you're like, we can't leave. So why
We're
can't we
leaving.
leave?
No, but yeah.
Just shut up and stay.
Watch the board.
I'm
happy birthday SKC win would be a great gift, right?
It would be. I'm so excited for this game. I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad I'm able to go because I'm going to be out of town this weekend, so I wouldn't have been able to go if it was later, but looking forward to it. This will be fun. So
wait, what did you say? You wouldn't have been able to go if it was a later game?
Yeah, because I'm visiting my brother this weekend. So if it was later in the weekend, Thursday, wouldn't be able to go.
Well, it could have been Wednesday or Thursday too. That's the two dates that they had penciled in.
Right. So and when the Red Bulls and Charlotte game went final, they had that game on the schedule Wednesday night, and I was like, damn, that means we're getting the Thursday game. But they're just both Wednesday. So
well, and here's a little something. So you win Wednesday, you're playing 9 o'clock Sunday. Mm-hmm. Then also you're going to play 4 o'clock back home the next Sunday. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like that because I have something to do at 7. I'm very glad. I'm very glad that worked out. But like the 9 o'clock, I'll take it because it works out the next week. So
for sure,
we got to get there first.
Yeah. So I'm excited, man. We are here after all that happened this year. We are talking Sporting Kansas City hosting a game in the MLS Cup Playoffs. And that's about all you can ask for right now. It's pretty wild.
I mean, I'm not even sure if you mentioned this, but Tim Melia boasts a perfect 6-0 record in penalty shootouts. 6-0 in penalty shootouts.
Yep. And at least one of those
4-0 at Sporting.
And at least one of those is a perfect penalty shootout where he saved the first 3 shots and we won 3-0.
That was the fastest penalty shootout of my life.
Was that against San Jose? In the playoffs?
Last year, right? No, not last year. 2 years.
For some reason, I was thinking that it might have been against San Jose. Hold on. Let me see if I can Melia
that up. But, dude, he saved all 3, and it was just like game over. I'd never seen that before in my life.
It was against San Jose, November 22nd, 2020. Tim Melia saves 3 kicks in a penalty shootout against San Jose in the playoffs to advance at Children's Mercy Park.
Wow.
Because didn't Gianluca Buzio get a late goal to send it to kicks?
Maybe.
I think so.
Oh, my God. What a stat, though. I mean, I don't want that to end, and I'd rather just not have to get the penalties. How about that? Let's just
end it.
Johnny's scoring a brace. You think Johnny's not coming in hot, dude? He's so excited.
Yeah. So it'll
he's
be
hurt
great
too. We didn't even talk about this, but he's hurt, and he's like, I can play through it. You shouldn't, but he's going to.
Well, Peter said Johnny's a warrior, and that he's one of the only players he's ever coached where he has to actively yank him off the field no matter the injury because he will play no matter what. So,
outstanding.
Which I didn't know if that was a veiled shot at Gadi Kinda for like not playing through his ankle, but
interesting. Well, he did decide to go out to play for the national team though, despite being hurt. So
yeah, so
pretty fun.
Well, you got anything else for our good listeners before Wednesday?
No, dude. Oh, you hear that? My heart's pitter pattering. It's getting exciting.
I'm gonna be nervous on Wednesday. I'll tell you that.
Oh, no doubt.
I will not have the confidence that I had on Saturday for some reason.
Wednesday. Don't text me these confident texts. If you text me, just say, hey, happy birthday to Marissa.
I will do that. So, well, thank y'all so much for listening. Man, playoff times are here. Playoffs. So
got the stash. I feel good about it.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NoOtherPod, at Dan Kooser, at JCMac03. Shoot us an email, nootherpod@gmail.com. Leave us that 5-star rating and review. Check out KCSN Soccer on YouTube or via the Kansas City Sports Network app. But until next time, he's Dan. I'm Jimmy. We'll catch y'all later. See ya.
Playoffs, baby.